Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Wartrain here. If you're new, do me a favor, please subscribe and click that notification bell down below so you can be notified of all my new videos, guys. And today's video, I want to do something a little different. I've seen some guys doing this and I thought it was pretty cool, so I thought, yeah, let's take a crack at it. This is Tier Maker. You can, take all kinds of different things, different lists, teams, whatever, games, systems, and you can rate them. And I thought it was cool. I'm going to do an NES list. So let's just get right to it. The first one on the list is actually Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link. This is a game I really do like. I've actually just beat it again recently, but it's not everybody's favorite, and I know why. It's not the original formula of The Legend of Zelda. It's definitely different. Nintendo tried something different here, and I think they try to forget that they made this game, but I still think it's a pretty good game, but it's not the total top tier. But I am going to put this game in the A category because I really like that game. Alright, so the second one here is Bionic Commando by Capcom. Another game that I have in my collection. It's a very good game. You don't jump, you use a claw arm to pull yourself up and to swing around. But it's not the best game, but it's not bad. So I'm going to put that in the B list. Okay, so moving right along. The next one here, Final Fantasy 1. Well, I think Final Fantasy hit their stride on the Super Nintendo. The NES ones were good for starters, but they're not my favorite games by any means. But I know a lot of people really love these games. They do have good music in them, but not my personal favorites. So I'm going to put that into the C list. Alright, so next we have Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3. And let's see here. I believe there's another Mega Man game here. Yeah, Mega Man 1. I don't want to really split these games up because I believe they're all really similar. Mega Man 2, that's when it really hit its stride, and with the third one. But the first one was the introduction to Mega Man and it started the series. So I'm going to put all of these together. And I'm going to put them in the B list because I do like Mega Man, but they're not my absolute favorite games. But they are fun and they're definitely good platformers. They're definitely hard too. Okay, so next we have Ninja Gaiden 2, and then same as the others, we have Ninja Gaiden 1 here. And I am going to put these together. These games both I played a lot of when I was a kid. Me and my brother used to play these a lot growing up. And they were super hard. I remember getting really frustrated, rage quitting, throwing controllers, me and him. But I did like to watch him play because he was older than me and better at these games. So I would like to watch him, and then I didn't have to be so frustrated, and I could just watch him be frustrated. But then I can see like the next level that I couldn't get to, and just root him on, you know. But as I got older, I got a lot better at the games. But I'm gonna put both of these games in my A list. Not top tier, but definitely really great NES titles. Okay, so the next is Super Mario Brothers 2. So Super Mario Brothers, I'm going to do the same thing with Super Mario 1, 2, and 3. Because I believe these games are all excellent games. They all do something a little different for the franchise. And they are all top tier games. So let's see here. Grab 2, 3, and 1. I'm just going to put them in order as they came out. These games are all great. The first one, when I first played it, I was just couldn't believe how great it was. The second one, I was looking forward to so much, and it was such a different game, but it was great. And I found out later that it was different because it was a different game altogether. In Japan, Doki Doki Panic, that they just reskinned as a Mario game, because here to find out, Mario 2 was the real Mario 2 in Japan was the Lost Levels, and we almost got that. But somebody from Nintendo was like, listen, the US is not going to go for this. You didn't change any of the sprite work. It's basically the same game with just different levels. They're not going to like it. It's too hard. They're going to want something that looks a little different, an upgrade. And, you know, he's probably right. And the Lost Levels is extremely hard. I mean, the first level, you get a poisonous mushroom. And you're not even, like, looking forward to that if you've never played it. So, right off the bat, I mean, you know, they're giving you a poison mushroom. So, you know, it just shows you how hard a game actually is. And I think he was right. And I'm glad they made that choice, because Super Mario 2 that we got is a great game. It gave us Shy Guy, Birdo, Mouser, just a great one, and it did something that I don't think it gets enough credit for. It was the first Mario game where you could actually pick things up and throw them, and that was something that stayed, because you can still do that, and that was in Super Mario Brothers 3. Oh, sorry about my phone there, guys. Yeah, it was in Super Mario Brothers 3. You could pick up a you know, a Koopa shell and throw it. Right in the beginning of the game, they introduced that mechanic. So something that came from 2 and continued on through the franchise even till this day. So, but all great games. And then 3, I mean, just the upgrade of the Foxtail, that was awesome. You know, I was just looking forward to that game so much, and especially they had the movie The Wizard with Fred Savage at the time, and man, that made me want to play that game even more. Wow, was I excited. And when it came out, it did not disappoint. It was such a great game. So those all belong in the whatever you want to call it, the super tier. Okay, so the next one, Metal Gear 1. This one is going right to D, as in dumpster fire. That game's trash. I am not a fan. Total garbage. And I don't understand why they had the actor that played Kyle Reese in the original Terminator on the front cover. I always thought that was really weird. Hopefully he got some money out of the deal at least, because the game wasn't good. Alright, so now we have Simon's Quest, which is Castlevania 2. Not my favorite Castlevania game. They are not all created equal. Not like Ninja Gaiden or Mega Man or Super Mario Brothers, in my opinion anyway. So I am going to drop Simon's Quest down to 2 behind the Mega Mans, and I'm actually going to drop Bionic Commando beyond that. All right. Try to keep them in some kind of an order as games as I like them. Yeah. Okay. So the next one is Ghosts and Goblins. This game, my mom occasionally would take us to go pick up an NES game, and I remember the first time I picked one up, it was actually a horrible game. I believe it was Urban Champion I picked, and man, was I disappointed, because that game was god-awful. And so she took me another time, and luckily I picked this game. The box art was awesome, and when I got home and I seen the intro, I was just blown away. I was like, this game is great. And then I played it. The gameplay is great, but God, is it hard. Man, I didn't see the second level for probably 6 months until one of my older sisters finally beat the first board. And then I realized that, okay, it's not impossible. So over the years, I keep jumping into it and I play further and further. One of these days, I'll beat it. I'm actually been making it pretty far into the game now. But man, is it hard, and hopefully one day I will finish it. But I really do like this game. As far as my personal opinion, I'm throwing this game right in the A category. Okay, so the next one, The Legend of Zelda, the original title. This game is jumping straight to my #1 pick on the NES. This game is absolutely fantastic. I loved it at the time. This was the game that showed me that you could have a huge adventure in a video game, and just the fact that you were able to save it and continue that same adventure blew my mind back then. And it was the start of one of the best franchises in gaming history, even to this day. So that's my number one pick here. All right, so the next one is Duck Hunt. Wow. Yeah, Duck Hunt, it was good when it came out. It was cool to have the zapper with a light gun shooter. That was all fun. But the game don't hold up really. I'm glad to see the characters in Smash Brothers. That's pretty cool, but the game's it's kind of a one-trick pony. I mean, you just kind of shoot the ducks and then you shoot clay pigeons, but there's not a lot of replay value. It does get boring kind of quick. So I'm going to have to jump this game down into the C category. Still a good game, but it's something you're not going to play for very long. And that's how a lot of those black box games were. But the next one is Castlevania 1. Now, I think this is a great game. So I am going to jump that right to the A category. I think right in front of Ninja Gaiden. Because I really do like the original Castlevania. Okay, so Double Dragon. I wish this was Double Dragon 2 here, because I like that one a lot better. The first Double Dragon was okay. It's kind of boring. You know, at least the second one you could do 2 players and stuff, but it was kind of cool at the time because it was a beat 'em up, and those were really fun. I did really like them back then. Now it's not so hot. I don't think I'd have so much fun playing it. It's kind of boring. I'd probably just play maybe a couple playthroughs. Like when I died, probably a couple times, I'd probably shut it off. So I'm gonna put this. Wow. I'm going to put this on the D list, but in the front. Alright, so the next one on the list is Strider. I played a lot of Strider, but I did play it on the Sega Genesis. The NES one wasn't really that great. But I do like Strider, but like I said, still it's not Sega Genesis. So I'm going to put that in the front of the D list. Alright, so the next one is Pac-Man. I do really like Pac-Man. The NES Pac-Man, the game was on everything. I mean, they put it on all these plug-and-plays, and just like it seems like every time you get a version of Pac-Man, it's NES version. So it's a total classic. But, I mean, Pac-Man is sort of limited. It does get very repetitive. I believe the actual Pac-Man ROM is really the way to play it, but the NES one's okay. I'm going to put that in the C list. Alright, so the next one is Bomberman. Not a huge fan of the original Bomberman. It's just not my thing. Some people may like it, but it's not for me. So I'm going to drop it behind Double Dragon, because I'd probably rather play Bomberman than Metal Gear, just being honest here. But the original Contra, this game is going straight to the top. This game's an absolute classic. One of the best games, hands down, on the NES. This game made me remember the Konami code, because there was no way for me to beat this game without it. It is hard, and I needed that code to even see the end of that game. And I still like playing that game, and I still use the Konami code to beat it. And it's fun, just such a great 2-player game. I'll even take all the slowdown and all the flicker from Too Many Sprites. I'll take all of that, because it's all good, nostalgic, fun goodness there. Alright, Battletoads. This game is really hard. It's a pretty good game. It's not my absolute favorite, though. But it is a really good game, but God, is it hard and frustrating. So I'm going to put Battletoads probably right behind Mega Man. Actually, right behind Simon's Quest. Yeah. As far as the way I like it, probably that's a good spot for me. Your list would probably be totally different. And who knows, like, you could probably give the same person this list every week and it'd probably be a little different. Definitely tough picking. Some of these games are really good, and they're hard to put up against each other. Alright, so the next one is Dr. Mario. I really do like Dr. Mario. I think it's a fun puzzle game. It's definitely good to play in 2 players against somebody, and it's a good challenge. Definitely a good challenge, and there's always room to improve on that game. So let's see. I think I'm gonna put Dr. Mario in front of Ninja Gaiden because I'd probably play that before Ninja Gaiden right now. Because I do play it sometimes, actually. It is a fun game, for sure. But the next one, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! Now, to me, this is Punch-Out!. I played this for as soon as it came out and played it like crazy. We all did. It was one of the best games on the NES back then. And when they changed the name to just Punch-Out! With Mr. Dream, God, that made me mad. I just didn't understand it. Now I understand it, obviously, but back then I didn't understand why they did that. I just couldn't believe it wasn't Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!, and I just refused to call it anything but. But over the years, I just accepted it as Punch-Out! Because of Super Punch-Out!, and, you know, now I have the arcade ROMs, you know, just Punch-Out!, and the whole series is great. Even on the Wii, I just love the game. Absolute fantastic game. So that's going straight up to the top, and I think I want to put that in front of Contra, at least side by side, because I believe those are two just awesome games. I mean, all these ones at the top are total just top tier excellent games. I mean, it's hard to even put them up against each other because they're just so good. All right, the next one is the original Dragon Warrior, which is Dragon Quest. It's not my favorite franchise. I like it better now, but I'm not a fan of like the original one. So I'm gonna have to drop this back onto the bottom. Yeah, right back there. Not really a fan of that. I know there's a lot of people that probably love these early Dragon Warrior games, but they're just not for me. They're a little slow. Good music and stuff though. Okay, so Excitebike. This game's another one-trick pony. It suffers from the black box game situation. You know, it was such early NES, but when it came out, I did like it a lot. I really liked the track builder, and we used to always build tracks for each other, and we used to always try to punish each other with oil slicks and, like, you know, things like little roadblock kind of things, so you just kept slowing your bike down, and we try to punish the other person, but you know, found out now that we are actually punishing ourselves because we had to watch that garbage. We had to watch somebody going super slow and overheating constantly. It was awful. Just god awful. I could not stand the sound of your bike overheating, which when you did that, it was always overheating. So, but it is a classic game, and it definitely deserves a spot up on this list of games here. I'm going to put that actually in front of Duck Hunt on the C list. Because I think there is some value to that game, even if it's, you know, only for a little while of gameplay. Okay, so the next one is Donkey Kong. I'm a big fan of Donkey Kong. I really like playing the ROM. Now that I got the Arcade Classic on my Nintendo Switch, that for me is the only way to play. When I was a kid, before the NES, I actually played a lot of ColecoVision Donkey Kong. And when I was a kid, that was the best. The ColecoVision version, it was just great. It was the best version going for a long time. And then Donkey Kong came out on the NES, and then that was like the best version. So... but still, I do like the arcade ROM the best, and Donkey Kong is repetitive, but it is a great classic game. So I'm going to have to put that on my C list, but in the front, because I do play that game still to this day, and I do have fun playing it. I was actually playing it probably about a week ago, to be honest with you. Alright, so the next one is Metroid. I'm a huge Metroid fan, really love the series. I think Metroid really hit its stride with Super Metroid on Super Nintendo. That game is absolutely fantastic. But the original one was really good too. And I remember seeing it as a kid. It just like kind of creeped me out. It had the weirdest music, the weirdest vibe. It just gave me this weird feeling, but I liked it. That was the strange part. And I did like the game. So I'm actually going to put that in my A list. And I think I'm going to throw that right next to Link. Yeah, that seems like a good spot. Okay, so the next game is Gyromite, and this game is absolute garbage. It is god awful. If you've ever played it, it was supposed to be played with Rob the Robot. Rob is the robotic operating buddy, if you didn't know what that stood for. You know, a lot of kids know him today in Smash Brothers, but back when it came out, it was so cool. I always wanted Rob the Robot. I thought it was the coolest thing to have a robot in your house. I mean, we're talking mid 80s. It was just mind blowing to have a robot, you know, in your house. So I always wanted one, and you know, they didn't really promote it after like the NES's launch. So they actually stopped selling it. But it was one of those things I always wanted it, even after they stopped selling it, because I just remember those first commercials where it was like the coolest thing. My mind was blown with Rob the Robot. But he couldn't even save this game. It's that bad. So I'm going to have to put Gyromite in the dumpster fire at the bottom. Yeah, because it's just god-awful. All right, so the next one is Ice Climber, another black box game. I'm not a fan, really, of Ice Climber. I do like them in Smash Brothers, but this game, the controls are just weird, and I just can't get the flow of it. I try to play it even now, and I just get frustrated. And my attention just goes somewhere else after a little while, so I can't play this game very long. So I'm gonna have to drop this probably in the back behind Duck Hunt, because it still is a classic NES game with an arcade style, and I definitely have respect for that. And the next one, we have Kid Icarus. Now this is when we move past the black box. We got this Kid Icarus, we got the first Metroid, and I forget what this was. It was like the action series or something like that. But I thought that was cool. I do like how they switch from black box to silver box. It's just so nostalgic for me anyway. But the Kid Icarus, I always loved the character. I thought he was so cool and had so much potential. And man, they should have just made some more games. At least, I mean, in the recent times, we got, you know, we got Kid Icarus for the 3DS, which is a good game, and we got him in Smash Brothers, which totally reignited, you know, the Kid Icarus franchise. They really just need to come out with new games, and I think they could do some really good stuff with it. You know, especially now with the new character model and everything. But back then, I thought it was a cool character. The game, it was okay. It wasn't my favorite, but it wasn't a bad game. But I'm going to put this probably in front of Excitebike. Yeah. Okay, so now we have Kirby's Adventure. Now, Kirby Adventure, that came out at the end of the NES's life cycle. I remember all the commercials, and I was getting a little older at this point, and I thought Kirby was weird. He was pink. They tried to show him with this like attitude and stuff, which I thought was weird. It's kind of cool that he eats stuff, but at this point I was already starting to move on to like Super Nintendo and everything. But I did think he was a cool character. I just not a real big fan of these early Kirby games. Even now they're okay. They're not my absolute favorite or nothing, but I just say they're okay. So I'd have to put Kirby probably behind Pac-Man. And I only put them behind Pac-Man and Donkey Kong because I believe those are just really both great franchises. I love Donkey Kong and Pac-Man. And even though I have them lower down on the list, that doesn't mean I'm not a fan of them. That means I like them. It's just they're not my absolute favorites. I mean, these first two lists, S and A, or well, even the B list. These are games I really, really like, especially the top two. Those are like my favorite NES games. All right, so now we have Dracula or Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse, another great game. I'm gonna have to put that right next to Castlevania 1. It's just Simon's Quest, just not my favorite, but Castlevania 1 and 3 are both really good games. All right, and the last but not least, Super C, Super Contra. A good game. It's not the original Contra, and that always bothered me. And it bothered me that they put that on the NES Classic instead of the original. Because, man, Contra, the original, is where it's at. I mean, just the guys on the cover, it looks awesome. It looks like a mixture between Arnold Schwarzenegger and Commando and, like, aliens. Like, just mixed. I mean, it was total 80s, man, and it was awesome. But Super C, still cool, but just it didn't have the same impact for me anyway. But still a great game. So I'm going to drop that on the back end of the A list. But that's how I rated these games, guys. You know, I definitely, definitely hard to choose between them like this. It's very hard. But leave me a comment down below. What do you think of the tier maker, and what do you think of my list of NES games? Would you have chose anything quite like this, or would your list be totally different? If you could, leave me a comment, be just like totally different or similar. That'd be cool enough. But that's the video, guys. I appreciate you watching. Do me a favor, please subscribe and click that notification bell down below, and maybe give me a like. I'd really appreciate it, and you would definitely help the channel. Do me a favor and check out some of my other videos, and you might see them up here in the at the end of the video. Check them out, and hopefully it's something you like. Well, that's it, guys. That's the end of this video. I'm the War Train, and I'm out. Have a good one, guys.